On September 26, 1960, Vice President and presidential candidate Richard Nixon seriously injured his knee while getting out of his car on the way to the first ever televised presidential debate. Although he was in tremendous pain, Nixon refused stage makeup to mask his discomfort and profuse sweating, and he stood behind his podium favoring his injured leg. With his body leaning awkwardly to one side, Nixon appeared crooked and off balance, not a look or feel that inspires confidence in a future president. As 70 million U.S. viewers tuned in to watch Senator John F. Kennedy of Massachusetts and Richard Nixon in the first ever televised presidential debate, what many of them noticed was the contrast between the two. Nixon appeared with his hands hidden behind the podium, perspiring and clearly uncomfortable. Kennedy, in comparison, appeared calm, cool, and collected. According to the poll of the radio audience, who only heard him speak, Nixon won the debate by a landslide. In a similar poll of television viewers, Nixon lost by a landslide. John F. Kennedy won the presidency. Many experts and lay people still believe that if Nixon had really understood the impact of his body language, he might have paid closer attention to the image he was projecting, and history might have turned out quite differently. When you make a presentation, your body language is every bit as important as the words you say and how you say them combined. If your body language is closed off, defensive, or hostile, your audience will mimic the feeling they get from you. So, you want an angry crowd? Scowl at them and cross your arms and voila, it's yours. See how powerful you are? If your body language is expressing something contrary to what your words are saying, it is highly likely that your audience will not believe what you're telling them. That's right. Many listeners subconsciously discount what they're hearing in favor of what they're seeing. Having powerful, polished, and positive body language and a strong presence will make your audience feel that you are an authority, believe that you are credible, and yes, that you really know what you're talking about. When it comes to body language, or nonverbal communication as it's also called, there are 5 areas to keep in mind: posture, gestures and movement, facial expressions, eye contact, and dress. Let's start with posture. Your professional, polished posture should be noticeable from the moment you enter the room. No, the building. Actually, the neighborhood. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. If you wait until you're up in front of the crowd to adopt a confident stance, you're already too late. Your audience's opinion of you starts forming the moment they first see you, whether it's in the parking lot, in the elevator, or yes, in the restroom. Remember to adopt your refined but relatable speaker persona as soon as you are within eyeshot or earshot of your audience members. Once you get up from your seat to take the front of the room, do it with power and purpose. Stride confidently with head held high to the front of the room and stand with your feet hip distance apart. Practice this in a mirror first. Many of us, both men and women, over or underestimate how far apart our hips are. Overestimate the width, and you'll be standing like a cowboy. Underestimate, and you'll risk toppling over. Keep your chin parallel to the floor, which will lengthen your spine, making you look taller, even without heels or lifts. Before you begin your presentation, take a moment or two to stand still at the front of the room. Make sure all eyes are on you before you begin. And once you know that you have everybody's attention, the floor is yours. Let's move on to gestures. The purpose of gesturing is to bring energy to your presentation, to highlight or magnify key concepts, and basically to help your audience understand what you're saying. Since so much of comprehension and retention is visual, gestures play an important part in making that happen. Gestures are like t-shirts. They come in small, medium, large, and extra large. Gestures involving your fingers only are considered small gestures. Gestures that pivot at your wrist are medium, while gestures that hinge at your elbow are large. Extra large gestures look just like that. extra large. These originate from your shoulder or shoulders and move outward, upward, or downward. And like t-shirts, gestures are not one size fits all. The bigger your audience, the bigger your gestures need to be in order to be visible and make an impact. Riff off your own natural style and have your gestures be a deliberate extension of movements you make in regular conversation. Keep your hands free at your sides so they can gesture naturally. When gesturing, you want to keep two guidelines in mind. First, open-handed gestures build more trust and rapport with your audience than closed-handed gestures. When your audience can see your palms, they subconsciously register that you have nothing to hide, nothing up your sleeve. So while you might occasionally use a closed-handed gesture to make a particular point, the majority of your hand movements should allow the audience to see those palms. The second guideline is to avoid crossing the midline of your body with your arms. Crossing your arm creates a wall between you and your audience, and you look defensive. Avoid this unless you're an experienced speaker who's using it purposefully. You also want to avoid the one-armed half hug. By holding yourself in this position, you're telling the audience, I'm so uncomfortable right now that I need a hug, so I'm giving one to myself. That doesn't inspire confidence, does it? Other gestures to avoid include pointing, which can be seen as threatening or accusatory, the bent elbow robot arm stance, which makes you look stiff and nervous, and the pizza pie, wildly gesticulating arm movements, which makes you look overly emotional and out of control. And the gym teacher, hands-on hip stance, which makes your audience feel like they're about to get detention. Your gestures need to go hand in hand, no pun intended, with the rest of your body movements. Here is a principle for knowing when to walk and when to keep still. Walk only when you are making a transition to a new idea that you want to share with a new person. That means you won't be wandering around aimlessly mid-sentence. You'll be walking at the beginning of a paragraph. Chances are you've known how to walk since you were a baby, but walking in a presentation is for grown-ups only. Take 3 steps. That's it. And when you take those 3 steps, align your eye contact, hand, and leading foot all together. Make your movements purposeful. Don't wander. Instead, you should stride to make a point. Try to avoid rocking back and forth, which may make you look nervous. Keep your feet firmly planted. Don't lean on a podium or become frozen behind it. If you must use one, make sure not to seize the sides with a white-knuckle grip. Stand up tall, behind it, or on a riser if necessary. Also remember not to turn your back to the audience. If you have to move backwards in order to connect with audience members on the side or behind you, move backwards discreetly at a diagonal or by gradually stepping back as you emphasize key points. Now, our bodies aren't just neck down. The way that we use our eyes and our face can make a tremendous impact on our presentation. When it comes to eye contact, you want to aim for not too long and not too short. Eye contact that is too short appears as though you are watching the audience watch you, and you fear that you're about to get caught doing something. Don't get caught scanning the audience. Aim to have meaningful eye-to-eye connection with one person at a time. How long is long enough? Practice making eye contact for 3 to 6 seconds. It may sound short, but it's just the right amount of time to convey one idea to one person and then move on. When it comes to making good eye contact, preparation helps. If you're looking down at your notes or behind you at the approved speaker slide deck the entire time, you'll miss a great opportunity to connect and build rapport with your audience. Use your eye contact to give you feedback on what the audience is feeling and doing. Are they following you? Are they bored? Are they confused? Be confident enough in your presentation to be able to adjust to what your eyes are telling you. Body language isn't just for delivering a presentation, it's for reading the audience all along the way. No matter how large your group is, make every effort to connect your eyes with people, not regions of the room. Your audience will know the difference. Of course, facial expressions can be hard to see in large groups. Practice a normal facial expression in front of a mirror, and then make it more and more exaggerated until it is something that could be seen by the number of people that will be in your room. The most effective, all-purpose facial expression is the genuine smile. A real smile engages your zygomaticus muscles, the ones that cause laugh lines at the eyes. Not that you or I have those, of course. A good smile will put your audience and yourself at ease. You can also watch yourself in a mirror to make sure you aren't making facial expressions that are contrary to your message. Especially watch for clenching and unclenching of the jaw, licking lips, blinking eyes, frowning, or squinting. Many of these expressions come as a result of concentrating too hard on what you're trying to say or from being distracted by something going on in the audience. Once you have your movements down from head to toe, you'll want to make sure that you put the finishing touches on your professional persona. In my opinion, choosing a professional, polished outfit that makes you look sharp, smart, and confident contributes to how your audience views you. Like it or not, how you dress sends a message to your audience about how much you respect them and respect yourself. Looking sloppy, mismatched, or unkempt doesn't do you any favors, and in fact, it can undermine the most practiced presentation. While you certainly want to choose clothing that's comfortable and practical and affordable, select items that will make your audience feel like you care about them and that you took the time to make an effort. When making a presentation, dress to make a memorable impact in the best way possible. As they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make that first impression be the most polished, professional package that you possibly can.